This is my video submission. My name is Stathi Sangaris and I'm submitting this for your review. How to describe my personality? Well, it was real simple for me. My personality is one of quiet dominance. I'm the one that goes in, watches, observes, learns, then I'll be part of the crowd. Then I'll be part of the situation that's going on. I like to be part of a team, I like to be part of a group, but only when that group suits me, when that group is part of me, when that group is something that I've looked at, evaluated and made so that I can really put myself into it and know that their goals are my goals. So I'm the strong silent type, I would say. I'll be the one in the party in the corner watching everything, and then when there's something interesting to be part of, I'll go over and be part of it, as crazy as it might be, or as interesting as it might be, or as intellectual as it might be. It doesn't make any difference. As long as it's something that I want to do, then I will go and do that. But not until I have all the facts and I've watched and I learned everybody's little quirks do I get involved. So, strong silent type, I guess you would say. The most exciting or extraordinary experience I've ever had doing my line of work, well, my line of work as a PI, I've had to watch a lady up north in BC, and in order to watch her, I had to pretend I was doing a soil sample survey. So I had to buy a bunch of styrofoam cups, a hard hat, one of those hit me first vests, and a little flashing strobe on the top of my rental vehicle. And I sat there for 8 hours collecting soil sample after soil sample from the ditches around this area. But on one end I could see her entrance to where she lived, and at the other end I could see her entrance. This is on an open highway, there's nothing around. People would come by, they'd look, they wouldn't even think twice about it. They weren't considering me as a private investigator, but eventually, after about 8 or so hours, the subject came out and I followed them into town. And I got my video and, case closed, and I moved on. But it took quite some time, a little bit of creative thinking to be out there in the sun, in the middle of nowhere, taking soil samples, give me an excuse to be there. The other one I did, I had to follow someone into a gay and lesbian bar, nightclub, and in order, they got suspicious that I was behind them videotaping them. This was for an insurance fraud case. And in order for them to take their eyes off of me, what I had to do was go in there, rip my shirt off, and start dancing around and acting the fool. And when I did that, then they didn't look at me again. And I got hours of video after that. But until I did that, until I acted the fool, I had eyes on me. So I had to, whip my shirt off and just start dancing on the floor. I don't know how to dance. But I guess it was convincing enough that they accepted me. So I went and got my shirt on, got my camera, and continued videotaping my subject. What gets me excited? What gets me excited is teaching. Whatever I do, whatever it is, I like to teach. I want to be a teacher, an instructor. I want to be able to impart knowledge on people. I want to learn the knowledge. I want to give it to people. I want to learn how to do a trade, a craft, a skill, and then help somebody else who's interested in the same thing doing that. I've done it for the PI work. I've done it for martial arts. I've done it for aircraft maintenance. I used to have a lot of apprentice, people working for me, and some of them were good, some of them were bad. I don't know if it was just the way I was teaching them or not, maybe, but I do know that I really, really enjoyed being a teacher, an instructor, a helper. I really enjoy that role, helping them to achieve greater heights. The strangest thing that's ever happened to me. I was in Greece when I was 13 years old, and while I was in Greece, I walked into this massive butcher shop, and by massive I mean a big place. It's about the size of a warehouse, and on either side there were these big round pieces of timber, which were the butcher's blocks, the big ones. And there was a guy at each one of these things, and they were cutting up meat. And everybody, I guess, went to their own family butcher in there or whatever. I walked in with my cousin. I was 13, he was 13 or 14 years old at the time, and everybody stopped. They stopped cutting. They would nudge each other and say, look, look. And when they looked at me, what I didn't realize is I'm the spitting image of my grandpa, who they all know or knew, and I guess seeing me brought back a lot of memories for them. So in essence, they were seeing their childhood, and I had a few people come up to me and introduce themselves and say, you know, you're welcome at my house anytime. So it was a very, very bizarre thing. At 13 years old, nowadays might not be so bizarre. At 13 years old, I walked in an entire butcher shop, maybe 15, 18 people cutting meat, stopped and they looked at me. Very bizarre. The most adventurous or craziest thing I've ever done, well, that's simple. I used to be an aircraft engineer, and at one point I was taking a plane from one side of the airport to another, not a big airport, a smaller airport, and it had to be painted. So all there was the fuselage, no wings, engine, there was an engine, and the wheels, and it was bare metal, there was no paint on it. So we put a milk crate and a gas can in there to run the engine, and the airport was closed due to snow. We're like, this could be a good opportunity for us. So what we did was we tied a rope to the back of the plane, and we were snowboarding across the runway back and forth all the way down to the end of the runway. I ended up crashing, snowboard, not the plane. And I didn't break anything, but it was a good time, fun time, fast, ridiculously fast, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's about the dumbest thing I've ever done, because anything could have gone wrong, including flipping the plane over. At one point I was going sideways, and I started pulling the plane sideways because the tail was so light. I personally had started pulling the plane sideways, and I had to stop myself so the plane could correct itself. And yeah, that was about the dumbest thing we ever did. Got the plane down there, had to walk back in the snow with my snowboard. I felt like I was on a ski hill. The airport runway itself was closed. It's just a little municipal airport, so there's no snow plow to get rid of the snow on the runway. So yeah, we had a lot of fun. That was about the dumbest thing I've ever done, and that's a fact.